Do you ever wonder if there's a couple of things that are missing as to how you could be better with your money? If so, then stick around because I'm actually going to share with you 2 things that you may not actually have heard before. Welcome back. It is Steph here from stephjking.com, coming to you from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. And today we are talking about how to be better with your money. So what are those 2 things that I want to talk about that you may not have heard before? Well, the first thing is a money story. Everyone has it. You have it. I have it. Your neighbor has it. And this money story actually forms from a very young age. So let's go back into our childhood and start thinking about the things that we may have heard or seen growing up when it came to money. Things like money doesn't grow on trees, or the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Or you could have pulled up next to a really nice car one day and you look over and it's a young person driving it and you overhear someone say, "Oh, that must be daddy's car." All of these things, particularly from a young age when we're absorbing everything and kind of coming up with our own values and our own ideals, is contributing to the money story that we then continue into our adult life. And these are things that we commonly are saying to ourselves in our head and also out verbally. So if we start saying things like, "I can't afford that," or you see someone that has been quite successful in the money game and you resent them or have negative feelings or negative words to say to them, then most of the time you may have a money story that is not helping you with your own wealth creation. So how do we change this story that we have within ourselves that we've probably carried for many, many years? The first thing you need to do is you need to change the way that you feel about money and the way that you speak about money. So there was a really good example. There was a little mini story that I read in a book called Earth is Hiring by Peter Kelly. And I just thought it was such a smart way to put it. So I'm just going to share with you what that was. So let's imagine Anne is building a business, whatever business that is. And John is her intern. And John has been helping her build her business, and Anne just really wants to take it to the next level. She wants to expand her business even more, start bringing in more money. And she sits down and she starts thinking about how she can do this. Meanwhile, John, her intern, has come up with this great idea that he wants to rush over and tell Anne. So he comes up to the door and he starts to overhear Anne bad-mouthing him to a friend of hers. So she starts saying things like, if John actually worked a little bit harder, I could probably fast track the success of my business, but he's just not. So how do you think John then feels? He's not going to want to rush in and go, "Anne, I've come up with this awesome idea on how you can expand your business." I know I wouldn't want to spend any time helping someone that I didn't feel appreciated me. So in this story, Anne is the majority of people. John is money. We tend to blame money for everything and we tend to badmouth it a lot. If you are constantly badmouthing someone, if we think of money as a person, then why on earth would that person want to help us in any way when it's not being appreciated for what it already is doing for you? So how do we change the way that we're currently talking about money? First thing is you just need to be aware of the language that you're using when you do talk about money. But there's another exercise that you can actually do, and that is writing a love letter to money. And I know this might sound a little bit awkward, but when I did it, I kind of thought, well, I don't really have any negative association to money. But then when I actually sat down and wrote out a love letter to money, I talked about how I felt about money, how I may have blamed money for things that had happened to me in the past, and what I wanted to get out of our partnership moving forward. And it actually really helped me notice that there were some areas in my life that I was blaming money for when it actually wasn't money's fault at all. I will leave a link to my blog post where I will actually share with you my entire love letter to money so you can get an idea of the type of things that you want to include in this letter. So once you've finished with your love letter to money, then it's also understanding that you not only have a money story, but you have a money thermostat. So for example, that thermostat could be a beginning of $5,000 and then your top point is $10,000. So that $5,000 is once your money goes under that amount, you start to feel insecure and uncomfortable. So you will then reduce the amount of money that you're spending so you can then increase the amount of money that's in your savings account. And same sort of thing with your top dollar limit, so the $10,000. What you'll find is that when you hit that $10,000, things just come up where you feel the need that you need to spend money. So it might be that you're like, yes, I've got $10,000 in my account. I can go buy that new bed, or I can go on a holiday. And then even when you become conscious about the fact that you do have a thermostat that you don't ever seem to go over, even when you know that, you will also find that just random things just pop up in your life that make you feel like you need to actually spend the money. So it could be that your car breaks down and then, oh, that's a couple of grand. A good example of a money thermostat is when you see just normal, everyday people winning the lotto and all of a sudden they have this huge amount of money that they need to manage. Most times, more often than not, what you will find is those people just don't know how to manage that money and they are way above their thermostat. So all of a sudden, you'll actually notice that most of them will go back to where their comfort levels are and they've just absolutely blown all that money. So have a think about what that may mean for you. And it doesn't have to be in the $1,000. It could be, you feel most comfortable as long as you've got $500 or $1,000, whatever it is for you. So once you know what your thermostat is, how can you increase it? The best way I know how, and this is what I learned through a course that I did around money and investing and financial independence, and that is setting up an account that you transfer money into every time you get paid. Now, I did do a full detailed video around how to save money and make money for financial independence, where I actually go in and show you exactly how I manage my money and the reasons why. So I will link that video because I will go into a little bit of information here, but there's way more detail in that video. So what you need to do is you need to open an account where you commit to transferring a certain percentage of your income. Ideally, you want it to be around the 10% mark. And I know that might be scary for some people, but what you'll find is after a few months, you might be a little bit uncomfortable doing it, but it becomes normal for you. You'll start to make other arrangements within your life, maybe saving a bit of money in a particular area, or maybe not going out to eat so often, and you'll become accustomed to that particular money that you do have available to you, and you'll get used to not having that 10% there. And then what you want to do is once you get used to that percentage, so let's say it's the 10%, you want to increase it after a little while. Now, if I say 10% and you're like, 10%, that's so easy, I want you to increase it straight away. I want you to do it where you feel that little bit of uncomfortableness. So that might be 15%, 20%, it could be 5%. Whatever it is that you feel like you're stepping out of your comfort zone in, choose that percentage and commit to it. Then in 6 months' time, commit to increasing it, even if it's only by 1%. Because no matter what happens in regards to your income, you will find ways to spend it. For example, I remember when I first got out of school, I started a job and I was only making about, it was like 14,000 or 16,000 a year. And I still found a way to live out of home. I bought a new car and I also did a bit of socializing. I'd go to the movies, I'd go out with friends. As my income has increased, and it's increased substantially since back then when I first started my career, you find your expenses expand with you. The more money you make, the more you find to spend that money on. So whatever you do, regardless of the income that you have today, there is, if you have the will, you will be able to find a way that you can save a certain percentage of your income. And then when you get an increase in your pay or anything like that, commit to another percentage. So commit to another 5% or commit to another 10%. You're already used to living off of a certain amount of money. So if your pay is increasing, then why would you want to increase your expenses if you don't need to? I understand that maybe this isn't going to be for everyone, and that's absolutely okay. If you are very passionate about trying to build your wealth though, I do highly encourage that you try to commit to doing something. Even if it's like 2% or 5% of your income goes into a separate account, and you know that you are not allowed to touch that account regardless of what happens. It all comes down to that you have to pay yourself first. If you can get into a good habit of doing this, then it's going to get easier and easier for you, and it's building on your whole point and your goal on being better with your money and being able to go for that goal, whether it's financial freedom or just having more money to invest with. Now, if you are interested in learning even more around what you can do with your money, how you can invest it to get a return, how you can invest it for financial independence, then I will leave a link to the course that I mentioned earlier below for you to go check out. You do get the first 2 free lessons free, so you can have a look, suss it out, see if it's for you, and then continue if you want. If not, you've still probably got a lot more knowledge around money management and investing information than a lot of other people have. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. Take care, have an awesome day or evening wherever you are in this beautiful world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.